About you, but it feels like this time of year, no matter how prepared I've tried to be, no matter how planned out I've attempted to lay out my days, a little bit of panic starts to set in right about now. So we've timed a few topics around that last minute stress today. In fact, we found one shortcut that is so darn pretty we can't even bring ourselves to call it a cheat. Studio 5 trend tracker Mindy Dunyan has her eye on a disposable trend with a designer twist. How you can dress and forget a really fashionable holiday table and pretty much eliminate the cleanup. More on that coming up. And with that last minute stress in mind, my first guest this morning has some emotional support to offer. In fact, Dr. Julie Hanks says many of our Christmas standards, expectations, and ideals are flat out unattainable. She has suggestions on how to manage the pursuit of holiday perfectionism. Julie, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So festive and elegant this morning.
So are you.
You take issue with this word perfect.
Yeah, it is unattainable. It is unattainable. Like a perfect life does not exist. We can't have that, and we can't have a perfect Christmas. So we're going to talk about ways to kind of be okay with the imperfections.
Be okay with just okay.
Yeah.
Where do you think this pursuit of perfectionism comes from? What's at the root of it?
Gosh, I think that's, there are a lot, but I think tying, and we've talked about this before, tying our worth as a person to kind of the external appearance. And I think a lot of the pressure we put on ourselves at Christmas time has to do with, you know, feeling responsible for how other people feel, feeling responsible for the presentation. It should be this way. Lots of shoulds.
And what I think is so interesting about what you just said is we do put the pressure on ourselves. We do this to ourselves.
We do, but we have a lot of help from commercialized culture, from, you know, family traditions that sometimes feel burdensome. So it's not just us, but the solution is us. You know, the culture puts a lot of pressure. You know.
Do you find a certain age group struggles with perfectionism more than the rest? For example, like my generation versus my mom's generation. Are we getting better about letting loose and lowering the standard?
I think we are. Maybe sometimes we go too far, but I've noticed with older generations, it's like there is a proper way to do this. There's a proper way that you respond to, you know, you always give thank you cards for gifts that you receive, and there's like a way that you should do it.
Yeah.
That I think, you know, younger generations are like, yeah, we're kind of doing it our way.
Okay, so you have a formula. What I love about this is you've created a little formula that we can apply to any holiday stress, any holiday situation. Quickly give us an overview of the formula, and then we're going to apply some real life scenarios.
Great. So I call it shifting the shoulds.
Okay.
So there are a lot of shoulds in our lives, especially around Christmas, and so this is going to shift that. And so it's really important to be aware of what those are. I should what? What is the should? So I should bake homemade cookies for the whole neighborhood. The second one is says who. So where did this come from, this pressure to bake homemade cookies? Is that something, you know, is it just because we've always done it?
Right.
And then do I want to keep it or reject it?
And this is where you being the solution comes into play. It's up to you what you do with it.
Right. And very often women will kind of minimize what they want. Like, what I want doesn't matter, it's just keeping everybody else happy. And then, so after you decide to keep or reject it, what's the result? Like, do you feel less stressed? Does it give you more time? You know, is it something you want to keep? And that feels good, it feels like you're keeping a family tradition going.
Right, well, and that result could be interesting in the vein of mom running the show, right? Or mom helping to spread the Christmas cheer, so to speak, in her family. You might find your family doesn't miss this tradition or this expectation at all, right?
Right. Or you may find, one year I found out they actually do. I didn't buy matching PJs for everybody because I'm like, oh, they don't really care. And they're like, oh, where's our PJs?
There was a Christmas cry out at the Hanks home.
No, we always, and I had no idea that they even cared, and I spent all this time. And so I kept that because I thought, oh, this is really valued and I love doing it. As long as it's appreciated.
Right, exactly. Okay, you put out the call on your Facebook page. We got some great scenarios. I combed through these and pulled out a few. Can I share them? You can take us through that formula in our minds. So this first one I think a lot of people can relate to. One of your Facebook friends made the comment that coming from a really big family makes Christmas really hard. She said she struggles with having to gift, and after a few years of being married, she put her foot down and refused taking her family out of the second cousin gift exchange. So that's her kids gifting to her husband's cousin's kids. She said, I'm pretty sure we got cut from the will, but it made me happier. Now we give to our parents and one sibling and their family. For both of us, it's nicer this way. So
yeah.
the guilt of giving the gifts, take us through that idea.
Yeah, so actually she did a really good job of recognizing the should. I should give gifts to everyone for, 3 generations in our family. And it was like, okay, says who?
Says who?
Well, says that's how the family does it, right? That's the family or her husband's family tradition.
Right. So in this case, maybe, this is my in-laws kind of
the in-laws saying, yeah, exactly. And then it's like, do I want to keep this or not? And she's like, nope, no can do. And then the result is, she was cut out of the will, but she's happy about it. Less stress, right?
Yeah, right. We'll take the money I did not earn and save it on the gifts that I did not give.
Right.
Well,
right.
we don't know how she handled this in particular, but if there is a long-standing tradition, particularly if you're the in-law, how can you go about bridging that conversation with someone who set the tradition and carried it out in their family for so many years?
Yeah, how do you approach that?
Right.
I just think straightforward. This is another phrase I love, it's not going to work for us to give 40 gifts this Christmas. We're really trying to scale back. So I'd like to propose a gift, drawing names. If that doesn't work, then, we'll just opt out.
All right, let's get to a couple others. You say it always so well.
It's harder to say when it's your family,
That's
right?
true, but we can practice, and you gave us the good words. This comment speaks to, I think, a lot of people's lives as well. Stressing about, she calls it the mommy show, making Christmas nice for everyone. This woman feels like she's in charge of everything, the decorating, the cleaning, the shopping, the wrapping, making sure everything gets done.
Yeah, so that's the should, like everyone should be happy,
right?
And it's my job to make them happy and fulfill their wildest Christmas dreams, right? So says who? Maybe that's how her mom was. Maybe that's, if she looks at it, maybe that's just entirely self-imposed. Maybe the kids expect it, right? So looking at where is this coming from? And then what, do you want to keep it or not? Like, do you want to feel responsible for everyone's emotions around this?
Which is a hard balance for a lot of women, because women do run the show when it comes to traditions and holidays. We know that.
Yeah, but I think it's important to recognize we have a choice. And no one dies from being disappointed. Like, it's good for kids to be disappointed sometimes, to be able to manage negative emotions. So I think, recognizing you have a choice, and then also allowing people to have the feelings they have and let them feel responsible.
Okay, let me do one more really super quickly. Being pulled in too many different directions at once was kind of a reoccurring theme on the Facebook friends we pulled. So the school parties, the Christmas cards, the right gifts, that kind of a thing. This particular woman said, I know that I'm supposed to be trying to focus more on Christ and the simplicity of life, but my actions don't always align with those values. What would you say to that woman?
Yeah, so the should would be, I should attend every single event I'm invited to.
Right.
And there's another should in there, that I should focus more on Christ, and I'm not. Right. So let's take the I should go to every event. Says who? Well, that's just what the culture does, and we can't turn down an invitation. Why not? Is this something you want to keep or reject? Do you want to? This is a time to look at your top priorities and what you value as a family and as an individual, and then make your actions match that. So do you want to keep it? Does it match your highest values, or does it not? And you reject it. And when our values are aligned with our behavior, then we feel peace, and we don't have that, Christmas panic.
That angst that sets in.
Yeah.
This simple formula, it's amazing to see how it translates to so many different situations.
It does.
You've made this really accessible for me, for everyone out there.
Yeah.
You've got a download. We can access it on your website.
Yeah, so it's a little formula that walks you through this, and it'll be on drjuliehanks.com.
Thank you so much, Julie. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you, Brooke.
Still to come today.